더스티 펠트가 무료 배포 중입니다. 레알 피아노 꿀템이에요. 감성적인 느낌의 사운드가 들어있는 가사악기입니다. 다양한 프리셋과 이펙트가 내장되어 있어요. 와우, 플러터, 더스트 등의 조합으로 본인만의 사운드를 만들 수 있습니다. 시티팝, 로파이, 레트로 장르에 좋아요. 다운받는 법은 더보기에 있습니다. 해당 링크로 오면 총 4개를 무료로 받을 수 있습니다. SubLab XL이 37% 할인 중입니다. 저렴할 때 득템하세요.
This 1946 obviously has a filter, saturation. But what you're really hearing are the wow, flutter, and dust. So let me bring this down, open that back up, turn this off. That's fairly excessive, but still cool. Flutter. And dust. Dust is basically random volume modulation that's mimicking what happens to a record when dust gets in the grooves, right? It just, you drop the volume. What's fun about this is you can use it as a simple piano. Turn everything off, turn all this extra stuff off, no noise. And it's a nice, intimate piano. But I love building worlds around sounds. And you have this pure...
데비로드 TG 마스터링 체인이 76% 할인 중입니다. $50 사면 1개, $80 사면 2개 공짜예요. 레알 마스터링 꿀템입니다. 작업에 필요한 다양한 툴이 내장되어 있어요. EQ, 컴프 등의 조합으로 본인 곡을 더 풍성하게 만들 수 있습니다. 음악과 밸런스를 잡을 때 꿀이에요. 웨이브스 울티메이트 1년 구독 20% 할인 중입니다. 저렴할 때 득템하세요.
So transients will pass through. If you're using this plugin for mastering, I would highly suggest that after this plugin, you put a true brick wall limiter, so you're not having transients pop through and clip on your master. You have makeup gain, ratio, which is basically controlling how much compression there is, a mix knob down here, which is nice, gain reduction meters right over here, and side chains, where you can have high pass, low pass filters for the side chain feeding into the compressor, plus a bell filter here that is sweepable all the way from 100 hertz to 12K. And again, it can be run in mid-side, as well as regular stereo and duo. Okay, onto the filter. Basically high pass and low pass filter with selectable frequencies. When you have low selected down here and high selected up here, that means it's off, or it's not doing anything. And then you're going from 20K all the way down to 8K for a low pass filter, and the high pass filter from 40 hertz to 110 hertz. And this odd little thing here that doesn't seem to belong in the filter section is a presence EQ, from 500 hertz with selectable frequencies 800, 1.2K, all the way up to 10K, plus or minus 10 dB. Which then leads us to the output section.
UAD 시그니처 에디션 버전 2가 50% 할인 중입니다. 올해 최저가예요. 56개 꿀템이 들어있습니다. 새롭게 앰프가 추가됐어요. 기타 사운드 만들 때 좋습니다. SSL 4000 버스치 컴포도 들어갔어요. 믹마할 때 레알 꿀입니다. 초보분들의 강추예요. UAD 가을 세일이 최대 66% 할인 중입니다. 저렴할 때 득템하세요.
It's got a full-on universal audio channel strip with compressor and EQ, inspired by vintage analog gear. It has classic reverb, tape delay, and modulation to make your vocals sound like they were recorded in a pro studio. There's a vocal tuner as well, and there's this cool little add-on called Top Line Key Finder, which allows you to quickly identify the key and scale of any song that you feed into it. On top of that, there are 3 new guitar amp emulations specializing in different areas of guitar amping. Of course, you don't always need to pass guitars through these things, but that's definitely where you're going to want to start when checking these out. There's the Dream 65 Reverb amp, which is the most authentic emulation of a mid-60s American tube combo. We're talking about a tube-powered spring reverb here. There's also the Lion 68 Super Lead amp, which is the most authentic 100-watt late 60s plexi head with 3 Icon plexi setups. There's the Super Lead, Super Bass, and Brown. And then there's Ruby, which is a top boost amplifier. This is based on the award-winning UAFX pedal. The Ruby 63 plugin serves up choir boy cleans, complex overdrive, and classical vibrato effects. So obviously each of these plugins has their own purpose, but what I would encourage you to do is use them in ways maybe they weren't meant.
Decapitator가 65% 할인 중입니다. 레알 디스토션 꿀템이에요. 808 베이스 등에 먹이면 훨씬 캐릭터 있는 사운드를 만들 수 있습니다. 드럼, 기타, 보컬 등에도 함께 걸어 사용할 수 있어요. 사운드토이즈 가을 세일이 최대 73% 할인 중입니다. 저렴할 때 득템하세요.
Add that hi-fi spice to the top end of your drums. The most important thing to note is the style modes, A, E, N, T, and P. These are great for shaping really unique characteristics for the saturation of the Decapitator. So for drums, I like to use the E setting, and I increase the drive amount to get that flavor I want, and increase some of the tone amount to bring out that brightness. Let's take a listen to before and after. You can really hear how the Decapitator drives any sound you feed through it and gives it that really nice analog tape vibe. And remember, there's a ton of different styles and a ton of ways you can route this plugin, whether that's directly on your channel or in parallel. You can even use the mix knob to make this a dry-wet effect. There are tons and tons of things you can do with the Decapitator. Do not sleep on it. Next, we have Little Altar Boy. Little Altar Boy is one of the most powerful plugins for how simple it is. It's a voice manipulation plugin that allows you to change the pitch and formants of any audio, and because you can use it on any audio, it doesn't have to be used for voices. However, it sounds incredible on
보컬라인 6 프로가 30% 할인 중입니다. 레알 보컬 미싱 꿀템이에요. 싱크 등을 작업할 때 쓰면 꿀입니다. 쉽고 빠른 작업이 가능해요. 트랙을 많이 써서 작업하시는 분들에게 강추하는 플러그인입니다. 싱크로 아츠 가을 세일이 최대 57% 할인 중입니다. 저렴할 때 득템하세요.
Blue track where the yellow track is, and you can match the visualization you can see here, and you can see how close you are. Right now we are in vocal double legato voice tighter timing. This is the algorithm that I'm using, all right? And so you have a visual representation here. We can zoom in a little bit on how close the two tracks are. And here on the timing panel, you have a macro control, loose or tight. And if I turn this, you can see the track changing, the blue one, right? You can see the yellow outline and the blue one changing, and as I turn into tight, it gets tighter and tighter. That's amazing, right? Below that, we have the adjustment rule. Right now, I'm in maximum expansion, but you can see how many algorithms you have. You have lowest flexibility, low flexibility, normal, high, maximum compression, maximum expansion, and normal flexibility plus pitch. This is for the timing. You also have a maximum shift limit in milliseconds or no limit. Smart align, we will see that later with the sync point, and then high resolution as well. One thing that you can do is you can capture multiple tracks. So if I now select both doubles, left and right, and I capture, you can see that now I can see both tracks here. So that's pretty cool.
synthmaster 2 플레이어가 82% 할인 중입니다. 역대급 딜이에요. 5.5달러입니다. 2000개 프리셋 들어있어요. 초보분들이 처음 미디 작곡할 때 쓰기 좋은 사운드가 많습니다. EDM, 하우스, K-팝 등 다양한 장르에 활용할 수 있어요. 클러스터 딜레이가 40% 할인 중입니다. 저렴할 때 득템하세요.
So again, built for EDM in my opinion so far from what I've heard. Okay, let's see what we can build. Okay, the reverb sounds clean. Let's clone this. So CPU is pretty low so far. Let's send this to a different track. And now we need some kind of bass. So let's go to bass. Again, I like how everything is separated with the categories. And there's a lot of presets. I cannot believe this is free. This has to be a gimmick.